What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for August 3rd, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the podcast. It's going to be another steamy day. Might rain again, but it's officially time to hit the panic button. If you did not stay up to watch the Phillies game yesterday, consider yourself lucky. Waited all night for it, and quickly it was 8-0. Not sure what is going on, but I'm panicking. Braves won, so now the lead is down to 5 once again. They lose the opening game of the series, and we all know what's wrong. We need something, an event, something to spark. They are starting to hit, I guess, somewhat better. They pounded out 9 hits, went 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, though. 8 men left on base. That's not going to get it done. Bryce is still struggling. It's just, I don't know. Don't have a good feeling right now. The bullpen game tonight, so I don't know who. Kerkering is starting, but I'm not sure who is going to fill in that long man. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words because essentially this has been the year of the collapse for Philly sports. Now, we said, and going back to yesterday's question of the day, I asked you how many games that the Phillies needed to win. There's still 9 games left. They got to go 5-4 out over the next 9. I'm not even confident they can go 3-6, to be completely honest. But we'll see what happens. So that's still in play. But 85% of you said 5-6 games, somewhere in that range. But I don't know. It's like the year of the collapse. So if you go back to, and I'm starting to think like the curse or whatever was, the dark cloud hanging over Philly, whatever it was, is back. But if you go back to the Phillies in the NLCS, collapse. The Eagles, collapse. The Sixers actually were playing very well and considered one of the favorites in the East until Joe got hurt, collapse. Flyers were in a playoff spot ahead of schedule with the rebuild. Down the stretch, collapse. And now we're just seeing the cycle continue. We need something to break out of this cycle. I don't know if we need like an exorcist, call a priest, voodoo doctor, witch doctor, doctor. I don't know, but something needs to be done to reverse this curse in Philly sports. It's ridiculous. I don't know. We know what's wrong, but how do they get out of it? Because we saw with the Eagles, the more you press to try to get out of it, the better off you'll be. And I think ultimately it has to go back to the starting pitchers have been really, as bad as the offense has been, the past couple, going back to the Oakland series, there's been games where the pitching has made it so it does not matter what the offense does. And they've had more games like that than they've had gems. So I think if I had to pick something, I would say starting pitching, but I'm going to do a call an audible right now because I had something else for the question of the day. But what is the biggest problem with the Phillies right now? Is it the offense or the pitching? I think the pitching, obviously if they were scoring more runs, there wouldn't be as much pressure on the pitchers. But by the same token, if the pitchers weren't giving up as many runs, there wouldn't be as much pressure on the offense to try to do stuff. So I think it starts with pitching. The reason they were able to build that big lead and be so good early in the season was the pitching. But what do you think? 267-495-8531. That'll get you in on the Back to the Future voice and text line. What's the bigger issue for the Phils, the offense or the pitching staff? You can also hit me up on all the social media, Jimbo_Mont at Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you're at. All of that stuff helps play into the algorithm. But really, is it the offense or is it the pitching? For me, it's the pitching. And I think that's what, and I don't have a ton of confidence tonight going in with a bullpen game. But here we are. And Taijuan Walker got lit up in Reading the other day. Who knows what's going on with Ranger? This is throwing off massive Eagles vibes, 64 Phillies, and whatever other collapse you want to talk about, that's where I feel like we are. Maybe they need like a shot. Like, I don't know what that would mean. And I know we've seen this experiment and saw this movie and how it plays out. Scott Kingery is down in AAA just tearing it up. But for whatever reason, he has that mental block when he gets called up. Plus, I don't even know where you'd put him. So here we are. But question of the day. What's more to blame for the Phillies' struggles? Is it pitching or bats? Let me know. 267-495-8531. That is the Back to the Future voice and text line. Be sure to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences. New baseball episodes drop on Friday. They're gearing up for their football season as well. That's available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And then go to Philly Goat. We've just started our back-to-school shopping this week. Check out Philly Goat before you go out to the stores. Check out their selection. There's definitely something your kids are going to like. Get some stickers for their water bottles. Get a hat, hoodie, whatever you got to go. And while you're there, use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. And if you buy the Hugh Douglas shirt, one of the John Kruk shirts, the Von Hayes, all of those shirts go to different charities. So you're also helping those that need it out as well. But that's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your orders. All right, so now some positive news. And just kind of put the final bow on the Eagles live practice the other day. The one thing I noticed the most, and I saw a lot of people talking about this, and I should have mentioned it yesterday, is that the offense used a ton of motion. Jalen Hurts was lining up under center, and there was just so many different formations and way things go. And then Jalen, actually, I saw him on a lot of design quarterback runs as well. He looks lighter. Again, probably setting myself up for the inevitable collapse that's going to happen. But I'm feeling good about the Eagles right now. But the big story with the Eagles is Merrill Reese is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. Yesterday was the Gold Jacket dinner, and he will be officially inducted today as the recipient of the Pete Rozelle Radio-Television Award. And as I said so many times when Merrill comes up, to me, if Harry Kalas was the voice of my summertime as a kid, Merrill Reese was the voice of my fall and winters. Because I know for some of you this might be hard to believe, but there was a point in time where the Eagles were regularly blacked out for not being able to sell out the vet. So they were not on TV, which meant listening to Merrill on the radio. And at the time it was Stan Walters, but playing football in the park, listening to Merrill. Back when they were on 610 AM, actually, before they even made the move to 94 YSP. But just soothing, like his voice, just him and Harry Kalas in different ways, just brings sort of a calmness to me when I hear their voice. And even hearing his speech yesterday, it was incredible. Temple guy, that's why I'm wearing my Temple hat today. Shout out to Merrill for that. But like I said, just one of the best to ever do it. And everybody has an impersonation. Everybody has a favorite Merrill call. I'm not going to disrespect Mr. Reese on Hall of Fame induction day by even attempting to do a impersonation of him. But shout out and congratulations to Merrill Reese. And one of my big takeaways, which this is crazy because I remember when he first started, when Stan Walters went over to England. Mike Quick has been his sidekick for 26 years of his, I guess he started in 77, so 40 some odd years, as 48, I guess, as the Eagles play-by-play announcer. Mike Quick's been there for 26, and I remember just was not good when he first started, but at least in my opinion, but he was not Stan Walters, and I was very devout Stan Walters guy, but Mike Quick has grown on me. Love him and Merrill together. I can't believe that's been 26 years. Just blows my mind. And I'm saying this as I'm looking into the camera with the gray in my beard, so obviously it has been 26 years. But congratulations to Merrill Reese, who gets inducted into the Hall of Fame today as the Pete Rozelle Radio-Television Award winner. And if you get a chance to listen to his speech he gave last night at the jacket dinner, great stuff. Local kid, grew up going to Franklin Field. Remember, he told a story about watching, and sometimes when he was watching the game, but he would look up into the radio booth and see Bill Campbell up there and say, that's one day, that's where I want to be. So really just a dream come true for Merrill, and well deserved. So congratulations, Merrill, on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And again, spent many hours and listening to you, Stan, you and Mike. So thank you for everything you've done for Eagles fans. All right, some Sixers news, and it looks like they're actively pursuing Marcus Morris. So are the Cavs, and the Cavs have way more to offer. I think they can give him more money. They're actually offering him a chance to play, have a chance to get into the rotation. But then the Sixers offer him a chance to come home and win a title with his hometown team. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that to see where it goes. And if you're looking for something to get a little bit pumped up and get the stench of the stink of the Phils out of your house, check out the Matt V. Mishkov video, a little bit of a hype video. And this dude is going to be a star. Like, he's already talking about wanting to go out and play for the Fit. This guy, he gets it already. So hopefully that translates into some good stuff on the ice. But check out this video. I'm pumped for them as well. Again, probably just setting myself up to be disappointed. Same way with the Sixers. But hey, that's the life of a Philly fan. We chose this life. Actually, maybe we didn't choose this life. This life chose us. If you actually, bonus question of the day. If you're born in this area, obviously you didn't choose this life. But anybody out there, a Philly fan who did not grow up in Philly that chose this life, because you're somebody I would like to sit down and talk to as well, and just pick your brain. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me. But if you chose to be a Philly fan, I want to hear your story. All right, today. It was a busy day today for Philly sports, August 3rd. And to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and let you know, typically I try to pick one specific event that happened on that day. And, I mean, obviously during the summer I could just pick any random Phillies year and game and just talk about that. But I try to make sure it was a meaningful one. And a lot of meaningful things happened on August 3rd in Philly sports history. So I did not want to necessarily, some of them are interesting, some of them are like, wow, but none of them were long enough to really talk in depth about. So I'm going to give you a couple different things that happened on this day in Philly sports history. First, we'll go to 2003, and Manchester United beat Barcelona at the Linc 3-1. It was the first ticketed event at the Linc, so officially the opening of the Linc, the first sporting event to be played there. I was there in attendance, and it was beautiful. And still, I just saw the list come out the other day ranking the stadiums, and the Linc wasn't high up there. I don't know. I like the Linc, and I'm biased, obviously, but I mean, you take that with a grain of salt because I also like the Vet. But anyway, in 2003 on this day, Manchester United and Barcelona opened up the Linc in a friendly soccer match. Manchester United beating Barcelona 3-1. On this day in 1930, Phil swept the Braves in a doubleheader. Chuck Klein went 2 for 5 in Game 1, extending his hitting streak to 26 games. It would end in Game 2. But this was his second 26-game hitting streak that year. And in case you're keeping score at home, if you're like me, which I know a lot of you are, the longest hitting streak in Phillies history is Jimmy Rollins with 38. Next is Chase Utley with 35. Ed Delhonte has 31. And then both the Chuck Kleins are next in Phillies history. Speaking of Chase Utley, On this day in 2006, he extended his hitting streak to 35. It was the last day he hit during that hitting streak, and the Phillies beat the Cardinals 8-1. Sometimes this stuff just sort of writes itself, and I get very, very lucky. I will admit that. And then finally, this one was more of an intriguing, interesting one that I was just like, wow. In 1976, the Phillies split a doubleheader with the Cubs out at Wrigley. Both games were complete in under 4 hours. So both games took a total of 3 hours and 51 minutes. So let that sink in. Both games took under 2 hours to play. So they played a doubleheader in the amount of time that up until the implementation of the pitch clock, one game would be. And that happened in 1976. So 4 for Saturday, I guess, for you guys today. In 2003, the Linc officially opened with Manchester United beating Barcelona 3-1. 1930, Chuck Klein extended his hitting streak to 26 games as the Phillies swept the Braves in a doubleheader. Chase Utley, on this day in 2006, extended his hitting streak to 35, the second most all-time in Phillies history. Phillies beat the Cardinals 8-1. And then in 76, the Phillies and Cubs split a doubleheader. Both games finished in 3 hours and 51 minutes. Incredible. Finally today, our Philly Olympic spotlight. Kelee LePage, field hockey defender from Twin Valley High School in Honeybrook, PA, which is only about 10-15 minutes from where I grew up. She is a Maryland graduate. Unfortunately, it did not work out very well for the United States women's field hockey team this year. They play their final game today, or as I'm recording this, they're playing their final game against South Africa. They will not move out of the pool play, unfortunately. But kudos and shout out to the U.S. women's field hockey team, specifically Kelee LePage, Honeybrook's own, Chester County. You made Chester County proud, Kelee. Hopefully you'll be back in 4 years. But Kelee LePage, defender on the United States women's field hockey team, is today's Olympic spotlight. And if you're listening to this early enough, you can catch her playing as we speak. The game started at 7:15 against South Africa. On this day in 2003, the Linc opened. In 1930, Chuck Klein hit in his 26th consecutive game. In 2006, Chase Utley, his 35th. And then in 1976, Phil's Cubs doubleheader, 3 hours, 51 minutes. And yes, Steve Carlton was one of the pitchers in the game for the Phillies that day. Who knows what's going to happen with the Phils tonight? I don't know. But if you have any ideas, send them out to Seattle, to Rob Thompson. But answer the question of the day. What is more to blame for this struggle? Is it the offense or the pitching? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. But we got Eagles training camp. They're looking good. Just in enough time for Lucy to snatch the football from us again. And then deep on the horizon, I see the same thing happen with the Sixers. I am in full panic mode. Talk me off the ledge if you can, but let me know, is it pitching or the bats? Obviously, it's a combination of both. It's kind of the chicken egg thing. I don't really care which one it is. Just get it fixed, Phillies. Get it fixed. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 3rd, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Saturday. Get the Phillies far from your mind. Don't let it ruin your day. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.